Andres Corona wants to know what are your expectations on this new tour that includes, of course, Mexico and now South America. You've been to Mexico, but not with transatlantic.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it because Mike's been to Mexico quite a lot, right?
In the past year, yeah, 3 times.
Yeah, and I was in Mexico City for like 5 days at the end of the last Meridian tour, and I have to say, Mexico City, it was fantastic to us. Meridian, we had the best time. It was just lovely. It was really lovely, and we had such great responses from the audiences. You have such passionate audiences in Mexico, so I'm really, you know.
Well, Transatlantic will be playing the same. You remember the Teatro Metropolitan where you played with Marillion?
Oh, how weird is that? That's great for me because I had a great gig last time I was there. So
well, you're going to be playing there, and sales are going good. I mean, we're hoping that Marillion will push us along too, and
yeah. Well, maybe. Let's hope so.
And
come on.
But you can be sure that we're. I mean, if you're following us on Facebook and Twitter, we're really gathering up a community of Prague, really devoted fans. We got like 25 questions. I mean, basically they repeat themselves, but a lot of people wanted to ask you questions and expecting both the Kaleidoscope and the EDISON S CHILDREN album. So you do have a lot of fans here in Mexico, Pete.
Right. Well, that's good. That's what it's all about. It's all about connecting with people.
Exactly.
You know, years ago when I was learning to play guitar, I was sat in my bedroom, but that's only because I was like 10 years old or something, and I always expected to be going out and playing to people. I wasn't doing it to be like the closet guitarist. I was doing it because, you know, I wanted to have something to say and I wanted to talk to people and communicate with people. So, you know, ultimately getting out and touring around the world is where I was always hoping to be. So I'm very lucky to have done that and be carrying on doing that, and I'm very pleased to be in a position where I can still do it. So I am so looking forward to it. I can't tell you.
Then Ricardo Ramirez, a big fan of yours, wants to. Can you talk about EDISON S CHILDREN new album? Can you say something?
Yes,
about it?
I can. I can finally tell people that we've finished mixing it at long last. I actually mixed one of the tracks. I went on holiday to Barbados last week with my wife, and I would be getting up at 4 in the morning to carry on mixing this song because we just wanted it all to be right, so we had to wait about for mixing and then the mastering. But it's all off at manufacture at the moment, and it's sounding amazing. It's going to be, the physical copy will be available next week, hopefully. Well, when I say next week, in about 6 or 7 days.
Okay.
It will be available to be start shipping out to pre-orders. It's a concept album. It is a complete piece of music with, I don't know, 7 or 8 tracks subdivided into about 14 or 15 pieces, and it covers, you know, it's got some light, it's got some kind of acoustic-y stuff. It gets quite heavy. There's lots of string arrangements that Eric and I did.
You're playing many instruments on it, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, what's nice about it, what's funny as well, is that because Eric used to be a bass player, as well as Roiner. Roiner used to be a bass player as well, funnily enough. I didn't realise that.
Mm-hmm.
I found that out on the last album. When we did Whirlwind, I found out that Roiner was a bass player. So there you go. But Eric used to be a bass player as well. So sometimes he plays bass, sometimes I play bass. More often I play bass actually, because it's just what I do, I guess. But I used to play guitar. I learned to play guitar before bass, so I play quite a lot of the acoustic guitar. But then Eric plays a lot of acoustic guitar because he was in bands in America back about 10 years ago, and then he kind of quit, because it just gets grueling touring around America doing the same clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we both play lots of instruments, and it's interesting as well. It's funny when you get to know people, because like he learned to play violin when he was a kid. I learned to play clarinet when I was a kid. So we both got a bit of musicality going on. You know, we've both got a bit of kind of musical background, as well as just being able to play 3 chords and record them quite well. which is primarily what we do. we throw in a fourth chord now and again, but you know, no, it's a good album. It's moved on sonically. I think it's moved on from the last album, and yeah, and you know, people won't be that surprised when they hear it. It's got a lot of sonically, it's moved on, but I think we've got the same kind of sound base with this album that we had with the last album. We've got real drums on this album. We've got Henry Rogers, who is in Touchstone and DXPus. You've probably heard of Touchstone. You may have heard of DXPus. They're both very exciting bands from the UK at the moment. And Henry is a fantastic drummer. And Portnoy was the person who inspired him to start playing drums. So you can imagine the kind of drumming we have. So it's quite nice to have some real drums to play along to. So that was a new thing we brought to the table this time.
Okay.
And it comes in at about, I don't know, just below. There's about a minute left on the end of a CD. We had to actually make sure that the crossfades really were pretty tight, because otherwise we'd have run out of space.